Hi, this is Hamada and welcome to Final 50. Now I want to provide you with a behind the scenes of the South Pacific island of Samoa so that you can avoid those common mistakes and maximize your time on the ground when you go there. So let's get started. Now Samoa has a population of just over 200,000 people, and it has a storied history that dates back 3,000 years. It had gained its own independence only in 1962 from New Zealand. So let's do two facts and a fiction. Samoa has a long history of cannibalism that dates back 2,500 years and at one point was called the Cannibal Islands. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is part Samoan and earned an honorary title for his bloodline that comes from former Samoan chiefs. Number 3, the Samoan men wear skirts called the lava lava and cook the traditional meals at home. If you want the answer, make sure to wait to the end of this video to find out which one was in fact a fiction. Okay, so let's do the goals of the trip. So my overall goal during my visit to Samoa was really to learn more about the Samoan way, or what's called the Fat Samoa, which is really a code of behavior that dictates the lives and the conduct of Samoans. Now, incredibly fascinating, and there's so much to learn from. But I also wanted to explore the nature of the islands, and even though my time was super limited, I wanted to get a lot done in a very short period of time while I was there. Now, if you want to see the full journey, the full experience, make sure to check out the vlog to get the unfiltered, heartfelt account of this perspective of the beautiful island. And I'm going to link it below in the comments, as well as you'll find it at the end of the video in the end cards. So here's the path of the journey. I started in Los Angeles, flew to Fiji on Fiji Airways, and then from there to Apia, the capital of Samoa. The reason I flew Fiji Airways is because it was super convenient, and that routing was super convenient. The flight was reasonable, the airline's nice, clean, on time, so I really liked it. And that's how I pretty much have done a lot of the islands in the South Pacific. So I highly recommend Fiji Airways to do that. Short, simple, straightforward, to the point, right? But let's get more into the logistics so that you have an idea of what you're going to expect when you get there. My introduction to Samoa, I arrived at my hotel and there's nobody here to greet me. There's nobody at reception. Knocked on every door, yelled, nobody came out. So I found a door, I pried it open, went to the reception, got a key to a room. I'm gonna try to get some sleep and hopefully they don't come in and freaking attack me in the morning. Wish me luck. Now, in terms of accommodations, when I got to Apia, I got there late at night, and I got to the hotel. The reception was not to be seen, right? And I'm sitting there knocking on doors, calling, nobody's picking up. So I find a back door, I kind of force it open, and I walk in, and I go straight to the reception, and the reception has a bunch of keys laid out, and I just said, you know what, forget about it. I just picked up the key of one of the rooms, and there's one upstairs, unlocked the room, found the bed, it looked clean, and I just jumped in and slept. So it goes without saying, the next day I left that hotel and moved to another hotel, which on its face was nice. And you know, for the couple of days I was there, I was in and out, so I really didn't care too much. But the last night it rained so hard that I was stuck in the room, and honestly it felt like detention. The Wi-Fi was down, the TV channels were like maybe there was 10 channels, of which half of them were like Christian television, and there was really nothing else to see on TV, so it just felt miserable. So I highly recommend, if you go there, make sure that you find an accommodation that makes sense and maybe splurge a little bit. And unfortunately, I don't think Airbnb was really an option out there. There just wasn't that many options for Airbnb. So there's a Sheraton, which I recommend, and it's right there in the center of town, so that may be a good one to go to. In terms of transportation, that's another big snafu for me. Ended booking a car on Orbitz, and when I got there and I booked a car through Orbitz for budget, and when I got to the budget office, they said, look, sorry, we don't have a car. We've been sold out for weeks. And I said, why? They said, well, we sold all our cars over COVID because we had to kind of stay, make ends meet and stay afloat. And whatever cars we do have remaining have already been booked out by Samoans who are coming back to visit their family, because they had been gone since COVID and they hadn't seen them. So I had no car. But I really kind of talked to whoever I could, and somebody led me to somebody, and I met this amazing guy named Fred, who became my driver, my guide, my friend, and it really was fortunate. And for him, what was really cool is that he was actually gone out of the country for a long period of time. He was in New Zealand, I think, for like two or three decades, and he had come back to to kind of turn a new chapter in his life and be closer to his family. So we were kind of discovering the island together, which made it just that much more amazing. In terms of SIM cards, basically, I wanted to get a SIM card because I've been having issues with my phone plan here in the United States. So I wanted to get a SIM card. And for me at the time, it was good because I had an iPhone 12, which allowed me to have a physical SIM. So I put that in there and there was no problems at all with that. And you can get them in the airport. In fact, I was able to get one in Fiji, in Samoa, no problem at all. Just put the thing in there. It's like 15 bucks, I felt like, for a lot of gigabyte for like the 3-4 days I was there. So no issues there. But now I've upgraded to a 14. Hopefully I can shoot some really awesome footage there for you guys. But the 14 only has an eSIM. So I'm hoping that's not gonna be a major issue as I go to some really remote countries in the world that don't necessarily have eSIMs. But I'll keep you posted on that, so stay tuned. But otherwise, really, really easy to get a SIM card. In terms of overall costs on the island, I felt it was quite reasonable. I did go to a really nice restaurant near the Bay Area, which was really cool, like an Italian restaurant. And it was a little bit pricey, but the rest of the meals, street food, morning breakfast, really, really reasonable and affordable. The accommodations were somewhat affordable, I think $80 to $100 or so. The ferry, even having a Fred and his car all day was reasonable. So I would say the costs overall are reasonable. Safety, in the country, I would say safety, I didn't see it as a major issue, but they always recommend that if you see anybody fighting, if anything is going on, to kind of avoid it and stay out of it. So, stay out of alleyways, dark places and stuff like that, and you should be fine. Okay, here are your 5 don't do's in Samoa, one by one for you. Don't travel in the wet season unless you have literally no choice, because when it rains so hard and it could really screw up your whole day. Don't expect to do anything between 6 and 7 p.m. each night for about at least 15 to 20 minutes, because it's strict observance or religious observance, and everything comes to an absolute grinding halt, especially in the small towns. So you really want to be careful from that and avoid it to do anything then. Don't get involved if people are having a shouting match. It looks like there's a fight, because again, it could be a major issue and it can get messy. And I'm not gonna lie, folks in Samoa are big, so you don't want to mess with them. Don't talk to people while standing in someone's home. It's considered rude. And also, speaking of disrespectful and rude, avoid eating while walking around a village. Okay? And finally, don't attend ceremonies in shorts. You need to maintain humility and proper decorum. At least adorn a lava to cover your legs. You can see in the vlog, I wear one of the lavas when I went to one of the really special moments there that we'll talk about in a second. So I want to talk about a couple of key highlights from my trip out there and share it with you, and hopefully you can experience something like it, better than it, and really kind of maximize your own trip. So the first one is going to the food market. I'm probably going to screw up and butcher the names, but I think it's called the Fugali food market, and it really was such an amazing place. I'm not lying to you. I've never tried so many different types of food in my life. An amazing place, have shops, you can buy souvenirs there, try all kinds of local foods for very cheap, and you can meet locals there, which is really cool. Another highlight was I just kind of went through the map of the main island in Samoa and highlighted all the main waterfalls and went to at least 3 or 4 of them, and some of them are absolutely gorgeous. So I highly recommend going on a tour of the different waterfalls while you're out there. Some really choice waterfalls that are absolutely stunning. And also while I was there, I went to something called the Ocean Trench. And what it is, it's a collapsed, caved in lava tube system, and created these 2 holes in the ground. Then you can kind of jump in there and swim and all kinds of stuff. So really cool experiences in terms of natural formations. I would also check out the beach follies. Those are beautiful, kind of like outdoor, like structured gazebo, so to speak. No doors, no walls, and you can sleep in them. Absolutely beautiful. Really kind of embodies that Samoa, the concept of kind of transparency, fluidity, humility, social connectedness in terms of these structures. And there's a really cool beach there called the Lalumanu Beach, which is really beautiful. And if you could sleep there, do it. I tried, I couldn't. So I highly recommend that you do that. Really beautiful. Another thing that I did that was really spectacular was going to the island of Savaii, which is next door, like probably a 30-40 minute ferry ride, something like that. And there's these blowholes there that are just remarkable. And it looks like geysers, but these geysers, unlike Yellowstone, they don't explode every hour or whatever it is. These explode every second. And they're just boom. And so what I did is I heard that you can grab a coconut, toss it in the hole, and it's gonna fly up about 100 feet. And if you're lucky, it flies up and then lands and cracks. It didn't crack, it actually ended up in the ocean, but a really cool experience nonetheless. And I'd say the last highlight for me was dining with Fred and meeting his little child, his wife. There's something in Samoa called agia, I think it's pronounced, A-G-I-A, and it's really about family bonding and community that really kind of symbolizes that proximity between families and community and communal social connectedness, part of that Samoa. So really an awesome experience that I highly recommend. Now, I like to do something called the moment, the one that really kind of epitomized the trip and really got me kind of emotionally connected. And I have to say that was really observing a tattoo ceremony up close and personal. It was such an honor because these things, to be invited in, is such a traditional and sacrosanct thing that people do between their families. It was so much stored tradition, to be honest. And I really talk about it. I talk about it in one of the reels. I also talk about it in the vlog itself, but it's such a beautiful experience to witness. And if you have the opportunity, I highly recommend that you do it. And you can, behind the cultural center in Apia, they have it going like ongoing all the time. So definitely worth checking out and seeing it for yourself. But remember, wear the lava. You want to cover your legs. Don't wear shorts there. But otherwise, one of the highlights, if not the highlight, of the trip in Samoa. Well, I hope you enjoyed this behind the scenes. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments and post it below. I really want to be able to get everybody's opinion and really create a community bond here and learn from each other. So please do that if you have any questions that I've stated or anything from this behind the scenes. Make sure to watch the actual vlog to get all the insider and the firsthand experience and the references. And also the blog, because I type out and put out everything there, so it's very descriptive for you. And now finally, that fiction I know you've been waiting for. So Samoa was not cannibalistic. It never practiced cannibalism. That was actually which was at one point called the Cannibal Islands. Thank you for watching. Stay curious, and I look forward to seeing you on my next journey.